Hello, welcome back to Tiny Artist TV, and yet another color palette challenge video. I think in the future what I'll do to expedite this process is just start doing them in groups of 3, but for today, we only have 2 more characters left in our Magical Heroes and Villains series, and today's character is another magical hero, so let's go ahead and get started. Par for the course, I have one small correction to make. We have 2 heroes left. We have 3 characters altogether left. So 2 heroes and 1 more villain. So this is the first of the last 2 heroes that we are going to be doing for this series, or I'm going to be doing for this series. And today's inspiration, the color palette name is Hydra, and the color palette inspired me to move in a direction for this particular hero's unconventional fashion into a cybergoth direction. Like, I had this image in my head, but I was like, okay, what are the staples of cybergoth? What does it really encapsulate? And it's really black and neon and this kind of like cool, like, because whereas like goth is a very like black, white, gray, red, this kind of whole like obsession with memento mori and death and the fragility of humans. Cybergoth is more of a, I would say, more lively aesthetic. My Google search results inform me that it is a subculture that derives from elements of goth, raver, rivet head, and cyberpunk. Which when I was looking into this, I very much caught on that like cyberpunk and cybergoth were kind of like kissing cousins of fashion, but also I can definitely see the rivet head inspiration as well, because overall cybergoth kind of looks like steampunk if it went just like totally dark, because it's usually, you still have your black, which makes it like a goth subtype, you know, like pastel goth, but it's paired with these like bright cybernetic neon colors, usually like an acid green or a bright red or like a cyan or neon pink or even like a really like hot purple or magenta, kind of the deep blacks of goth paired with the kind of don't touch me neon colors of like a poisonous animal. So in that respect, with this particular color palette, I didn't have a black to work with. Instead, I have this very dark plum. For my neons, however, I do have this beautiful combination of these like cyber greens. And so, of course, with that in mind, I treated the purple as the black, and then of course the oranges and greens as the accents. Where, as you can see, I'm laying out the colors here. Where I'm having issue is figuring out, do I want the green to be more prominent, or do I want the orange to be more prominent, or do I want them to be 50-50? Eventually I figure it out. So I decide to have her outfit be mostly the purple and green, and then have the orange as an accent through line, so mostly in the little hearts, because she has the heart on her choker and then also on her boots. And then I have in my head how I'm going to treat the hair. If you'll look back to the reference, and I'll pop it back on the screen here, just like cyberpunk hair, not cyberpunk, cybergoth hair in general has a lot of these really colorful like yarn dreads that have a swirling of the black and then the neon colors, and usually like 50-50, and then you'll have some pieces that are solid. So that was one way I knew that I was going to integrate both the green and orange as accents. But as far as the outfit goes, you can see here, I think this is the this is the second iteration, so this is the final iteration of the color, where I just have the orange as pops of color throughout her outfit versus being a main attraction. So just something to break up between all of the swatches of green and then the purple / black. in my head as well, I have her tied to a couple of the other characters I've already drawn. Mainly these two characters here, one of which is one of her teammates, so that works out just fine. But then when I was looking at the color palette and the inspiration that I had chosen, the particular style of fashion that I had chosen, I was thinking, oh, that's so interesting that I think this character would actually potentially be related to this other character. And so to hearken to that, they both have heart embellishments and spikes on the boots. So just as far as the costuming kind of made them very similar in that respect. But of course their overall design is very different, except for maybe the hair. They do both most certainly belong to a goth aesthetic subculture. So of course this character again being cybergoth, whereas the other character is more pastel goth, or maybe even pastel cybergoth. I'm more inclined to say just traditional pastel goth, because even though there are some crossover elements like the netting, which is pretty much a staple across a lot of different goth aesthetics, I feel like overall she leans more towards just a traditional pastel goth versus a pastel cyber goth, which in the few articles that I did look up does exist. There was one that was really cute where instead of black and neon, she was wearing purple and white, which like the purple would have been her neon, but she was wearing white instead of black. And I'll link the article down below so you can take a look, because it also tells you like basically how to get cybergoth staple pieces into your wardrobe if you're interested in trying out this fashion. Not personally my aesthetic. My personal aesthetic is actually coming up in the next video, so I'm very excited for that one. But yeah, we are almost to the end of this character. I'm just messing with the last few finishing touches, which mainly involves a cyber heartbeat that I decide not to keep. So this is the cybergoth magical girl character in our magical heroes and villains lineup. I don't have a name for her, so if you would like to name her, maybe go ahead and drop it down in the comments. I hope you guys again have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a weird day.